What's pretty bold here by Rush is even with Gragas up and Rek'Sai banned, neither team prioritized the somewhat nerfed Gragas on this patch. So therefore, Rush has been playing so much Nidalee in solo queue, and it's very clear from these early picks that Impulse has that he is going to be in a much more carry role with Alistar and Nautilus not bringing damage, so therefore the jungler needs to bring a significant amount of damage in this match. All right.
We did see him break out that Lee Sin previously, Jatt, last week. Rush, that is. So definitely wanting that carry role a little bit more for the team. It worked out well for him, taking out Cloud9. His Lee Sin was 7-0-11. We'll see if he can get angry on the cat this game as he takes Nidalee. Graves, something Apollo used to go back to quite a bit as Wiz Fusion and a little bit of Apollo. But yeah, he's going to go right to it.
Seemed like Apollo last split pretty much only played Sivir and Graves.
Yeah.
This year he's tried to diversify a little bit, but honestly, with Kalista ban and Corki taken away, Graves is the obvious choice for him. It's also good cleanup if they do get someone low with Nidalee Spears to just throw the Graves ultimate collateral damage in there to try to finish up. So Team Impulse with a catch-based, heavy CC, and comfort champions. This is the type of team composition you'd expect them to pick. And NME, honestly, with the Ezreal mid lane, innoX on high damage poke champions, is their style as well.
Got a Braum coming into the NALCS. I know we saw one in Europe as well. Haven't seen him too much lately, but it will finalize the composition for NME. XiaoWeiXiao as well, going to bring out Ahri for the first time here in the summer split, but still a champion he knows how to play well.
Yeah, we got to see Braum versus Poke. Braum very good against Poke, but that was against a Jace, who has a much longer cooldown on his EQ combo, therefore you can always have the Braum shield up to block the Poke. In this case, since the Poke is against Nidalee and the spears are coming out every few seconds, not as effective, but still reasonable, and it gives them a very difficult to penetrate front line with the Shen and the Braum now playing defense.
Will be interesting now seeing NME come back with the double smites, a team that loves to go for dragons. We'll see if that's something they tried to do early in the game now that they have an easier chance. It's safer to do so with those two smites. Flying Brad saying thank you very much for your time, and they're going to head to the back. The team's now all alone by themselves to call these shots, get themselves into the game, and see what they can do against each other. And you as well, head over to Twitter and start sharing your game predictions. Tweet at LOL Esports with either the hashtag TIPwin or hashtag NMEwin for the team that you are backing. We'll get those tallied up throughout the game, and we'll get that vote on the screen so you can know how you are impacting the game. We're just about to get onto the Rift. First game of the day here coming into Week 6, Impulse versus NME, and we are on the Rift.
Absolutely. So Rush going to be taking a bit more of a carry role. XiaoWeiXiao defaulting back to an assassin-type champion. Ahri is one of the mid lane assassins who also provides a lot of AoE damage, so it's a bit of a hybrid there. I think it's safe to generally pick in this meta, especially when NME has such a squishy mid laner in innoX's Ezreal.
Right.
So one of the things about this Runeglaive mid lane Ezreal is none of the builds actually have magic resist in them at all. Therefore, if Ahri can ever get on him, or if he ever gets hit by a Nidalee Spear, he will most likely die very quickly. I do want to change the topic a little bit, though, just because that's a very odd early open by Impulse. They have 5 people stacked on their own blue buff.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Maybe they were expecting an invade? It looks like they're just going to end up doing nothing with it.
It seems like they're doing homework. They were trying to catch whoever would come over maybe for the 2v1 to see where the wards would go. Enemy stays very, very safe, though, knowing they have a bit of time for their champions to scale up. They don't want to get scared early, or rather take too much damage and put themselves behind. See the statistics in the matchup between these two teams and how their first match went in Week 4. Pretty bloody game. Expect that to happen again. As it goes, mid laners already have high kill or high damage participation in their teams, and innoX and XiaoWeiXiao are 2 of the highest, right behind Bjergsen in the league.
And it's kind of interesting how Impulse hit 5 dragons in that match. So there have only been four games this split in which a team has reached aspect of the dragon, which is killing the dragon 5 times. And 3 of those games have involved NME. So they've achieved it twice, and it was achieved once against them by Impulse. Unfortunately, they're 1 and 2 in games where 5 dragons have been reached.
Yeah.
So Rush with a very generous leash smites the Gromp. This is somewhat of a new start for some people, where you would consume Smite the Gromp to get your top laner level 2 and then jump over to the blue buff. So Rush, even though he's in a carry role, gives a lot of the early experience from the jungle over to Impact's Nautilus. And both junglers are doing this even though, both top laners are doing this even though there's no lane swap scenario. So they're almost predicting a lane swap, therefore starting with the double jungle, and now we're just walking to lane. Both of them will, of course, be level 2.
I like the 2v2 better anyways. We're going to get more action out of this one. Impact getting a little help on that Nautilus. I don't believe Flaresz was able to get into the lane the same way with his as he played it. We'll see how he plays against it now on his Shen.
Jeez. So Rush even shared some of the experience at blue buff with Impact, not even hitting level 2 off his own blue.
Right, just saw that there.
Yeah, that's a very interesting start for Rush. Normally you want to get early double buffs as Nidalee and then go gank or kill the enemy jungler. That's one of the main reasons to tank Nidalee. But Rush now, incredibly low in his own jungle, just thanks to that jungle start. We'll still be able to clear because Nidalee is very good at jungling. But it's an interesting start.
Got that heal once he can get it on. Not a problem. It looks like he crushes down Red quite easily. Let's see where he goes after this. Has quite a bit of health to stay in the jungle for now, and no pressure from any of the lanes, so he can stay safe. Bot lane, very even in CS. Level 2 wasn't in anybody's favor. Real no engage coming out from either side.
Yeah, he's still able to full clear. Won't hit level 4 though, of course, because he gave up the Gromp.
See how the push in the top lane goes in, 21 to 14. Impact not going to hurt Flaresz too much. Shen still be big towards that late game. Interested to see where the first bit of action comes out though. Not going to be top lane. Easy vision, easy game.
Well, for
Very
now,
safe from these teams.
Yeah, it's because they've had completely mirrored starts. So normally, in order to see conflict, you have to see people do something that is non-mirrored. But they all started the same. Let's talk about the mid lane Ezreal a little bit. Mainly because early on in the lane, innoX is basically giving up a free farm lane to whoever he goes up against. So expect these guys to just farm out a fair bit until we see a Sheen or a first item from XiaoWeiXiao, especially when Ahri gets her ultimate is when Ezreal has to start playing a little bit more defensive because that's when there's kill threat. There's some trades in the bottom lane. But to get into why mid lane AP Ezreal is a thing now, and it was not before, for those of you who aren't familiar, so Runeglaive is the new item on this patch from the jungle.
Right.
But it is basically an AoE Sheen type effect that procs on Ezreal's Q. So it allows Ezreal to do wave clear. Some of the old failings of AP Ezreal was the fact that you'd have to max W in order to do any damage.
Right.
As you say, Adrian missed a head by Pulverized. But now you're allowed to max Q, still do damage, and then also access wave clear. So the late game power is actually somewhat comparable to the old AP Ezreal, but the power curve is so much smoother because basically you get to start with the Sheen, you immediately get wave clear, and then every item just adds onto your power, so it turns on much faster and much more smoothly. Add that to the fact that it's also applying Luden's Echo, which will be changed next patch. It was not intended. Just allows the poke to be a little bit ridiculous this patch.
Yep. I think a really big thing about the wave clear as well is you're not constantly having to use your ultimate to get that wave cleared. You have that for fights, you have that for side wave participation and anything else. And you're not just completely pushed into your turret. So we'll see how he gets. Yeah. 6 comes up. XiaoWeiXiao's already hit it first, trying to push him in.
Early on, though, you're definitely still pushed into your turret.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only are you little baby AP Ezreal that doesn't have as much auto attack damage. Oh dear.
That's what you're talking about, Jatt. Very, very close play. The Ignite last hit. Shen comes in. I think a little unnecessary. The Ignite wore off, but better safe than sorry, right?
I thought the last tick of Ignite was going to kill him, and I can see that. Yeah, Ignite was definitely going to tick dead on him. He had another 2 ticks.
Oh, he's dead now.
And he was at 18 health. So
the shield.
Basically half a second of error from Flaresz, and he would have fallen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I thought he was dead for sure. But Flaresz sacrifices his own lane a little bit to keep
XiaoWeiXiao do. That's why he pulled off as well. Nicely done. Good calculation by Flaresz. I don't know if that hurts the top lane too much. He's meeting Impact on the way back up there, but still just a bit down in CS. Definitely losing some to the turret because of that. We'll see if Impact can make a teleport now. His Flaresz is down. Something for Dragon. Make him up soon here.
Yeah.
A little bit of gold lead from what's happened around the map so far. No first blood just yet, though. And again, right into the turret. Impact having pretty free time in this. Actually, all the lanes are farming pretty free. Where are the junglers? What are they doing? 31 to 27 right now. And they're just getting themselves built up. Yeah, pretty much.
Also
everybody's in the gentleman's agreement, and they're all right with doing this right now.
Well, Rush is just hoping to power farm. He goes for his Tear of the Goddess before completing his Magus enchantment. I wonder if he's going to be giving blue over to XiaoWeiXiao, if he's going to take it for himself. He's had many games on Nidalee this week where he just crushed the opponent. Ooh! Thanks for the help, they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he went Tear early, generally speaking. Is because if he's going to hand off blue, he needs to be able to get mana in his own jungle. And I don't know why I said Magus enchantment, because Runeglaive exists now. There's no more Magus. So he will be going Runeglaive after this, which will then also make it so he doesn't need blue buff. Since you get mana back when you proc Runeglaive, and Nidalee doesn't have any mana cost when she's in cat form. So it really is not requiring blue buff anymore.
Saw Bodydrop trying to deny some CS with the shield in that bot lane. Little things that could possibly get them in the lead. For this first fight to break up, I'm a little sad. I said there were a lot of kills back in the Week 4 game. Not so far in this one. It might explode sometime soon at that Dragon. We got to remember 2 smites over on the side of NME. They're the team that's picking up aspect against the teams that they play against. But a team that's always behind in gold.
Exactly.
With what they do.
I was doing some digging into gold at 10 minutes earlier today, and it's a really interesting matchup between these two teams. So Team Impulse, on average, has the most gold at 10 minutes of any team in the North American LCS, but they also allow the 8th most gold on their opponents. So it's almost like they have great offense but poor defense because their games are always quite bloody. So they're gaining a lot of gold, on average 14.3 thousand at 10 minutes. So we'll track that in about 40 seconds versus giving up 13.9 thousand. Meanwhile, NME gives up the most gold, so their opponents get the most gold against them by 10 minutes at 14.5 thousand, but they're only the 7th highest gainers at 13.6k. So this game, because it's been more subdued, has generally lower gold totals, but even with the farming, you can see Team Impulse approaching their average, which is 14.3 thousand.
Yeah,
even without kills, because they're replacing their kills with fantastic farm numbers. Look at those CS at 10s.
And right on the tick as well. Technically, this should be NME's game to have their chance to come back in gold, right? With the way the odds are.
Team Impulse, about 100 gold more than normal. Basically, NME gives away about as much gold. Everything is on expectation in this game for NME or Tip early games, aside from the amount of gold that NME gets. So basically, Team Impulse outperforming their expectations, NME sitting on their expectations.
No big moves. Yep, advantage Tip. Obviously, that 900 gold so far, but overall stats as well playing in their favor. Hopefully they know the mentality will play through as well. Again, that ultimate being used as he gets to the Runeglaive just to clear mid lane. Does not yet have the ability to do that with his Qs at all. And XiaoWeiXiao is taking full advantage of this, but not yet able to roam. Gonna wait and see when that comes. The Mia called by innoX there. XiaoWeiXiao looks to place and clear some wards.
Yeah, innoX is just hoping to turn on later, which AP Ezreal absolutely does. Finished his Runeglaive right now, increasing his wave clear. Also, of course, going Trailblazer Smite to clear the wave. But NME, by gold, the worst early game team in the LCS. They're on average down 880 gold at 10 minutes, which was the case in this game once again. Therefore, they always have to play from behind. Oftentimes, even though they're behind in gold, they're still able to achieve dragons. Whether that's a prioritization problem is half of the truth. And look out, Flaresz.
Ooh, could be first blood. Flaresz, does he have the dash? I don't think he does. He goes down. That's going to be Impact's perfect timing as well, as Dragon's happening in the bot lane for NME.
Kind of what we expected once again. NME ends up getting punished with the kill and first blood, but they are able to achieve the first dragon. The unfortunate thing about this is if you were taking dragon control after the other team gets an advantage on you, you're very unlikely to be able to stack those dragon buffs on top of each other, since the next time the dragon comes up, NME will be very far down in gold. You can see now 2,000 gold down. They also lose their turret, which makes it 2,500 gold down. Not a good trade, honestly, for NME there. losing Flaresz in the top lane.
About average for the first dragon, though. They love those statistics. The wards being placed out here by Impulse. A lot of pinks across the board that have kept wards out of their jungle. Enemy trying to set some of their own down as well. Have not provided any kills just yet, but makes me feel like Impulse thinks they can move their wards up, things that they can protect in an area that feels like it is theirs. You can already see innoX really doesn't have any control over mid, which means any area to the left or right of him can be pretty scary if it's not warded.
Yeah.
Once again, all down mid.
What's interesting about this mid lane Ezreal as well is XiaoWeiXiao is actually one of the earliest adopters as far as practicing it in solo queue. So he will know, generally speaking, what it struggles against. And it honestly struggles pretty mightily against the Ahri. One charm, and basically innoX is dead. The first time the charm landed, it burned a Shen ult. The second time, it pushed innoX out of lane once again. It's not much of a CS advantage, but as you see, the turret is slowly getting chipped away. And throughout the rest of the game, that charm threat will still exist. One charm will probably mean the death of innoX.
Easily blowing that arcane shift and into range with Spirit Rush.
Yeah, and it's not like he can bring cleanse, he needs to bring smite.
Trashy waiting, throws down the Drunken Rage, can't get the kill onto Apollo. Nice Glacial Fissure actually keeps him in range. I don't think they'll have Adrian here or any teleports coming in. Stand United was up, but Flaresz was in range of impact.
Really nice aim on the Braum ultimate to close out that kill. And Trashy, he used his body slam flash offensively and it ended up paying out. I feel like Adrian and Apollo got caught a little bit off guard there since the lane had been so passive and farm heavy. That will need to be Otter and Bodydrop trying to take some control there, since basically Rush is just farming.
They had the right idea. They wanted to place the forward ward. They just didn't expect a Trashy there at the same time. Unfortunate. You think of it a little too late, and the other team has the move they need. Adrian trying to prevent some wards, but it looks like they're actually going to start losing their own. I was just saying Impulse feels confident to move their wards up. Yeah. Enemies heading into the bot side of the jungle right now trying to take over.
Yeah. And Impulse lost a little bit of map pressure because Impact did cancel his teleport down when the bottom lane gank happened. It looks like Impulse is kind of setting up to control the second dragon and the mid lane. The mid lane turret going down benefits greatly for Rush's ability to counter jungle. Oh, man.
Oh, Bodydrop gonna get just that. Kind of suspended in midair for a second as he gets knocked up, charmed around, and hit up right onto innoX in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Flaresz is the next target. Trashy just used the ult in the bot lane. Gonna have it up in a few. Does he decide to use it to continue the fight? Triple kill coming in for Rush. And it looks like they're trying to back up. Where's the ult from Trashy? Gonna get the pentakill. Going in. XiaoWeiXiao's gonna take the turret for him. They're giving it. Salami. He goes in. And XiaoWeiXiao steals it on the accident.
So close. Rush wanted it. Oh boy. Well, this game just went completely in Tip's favor based on a ridiculous series of events in the mid lane. This is why you let Rush play carry junglers, and this is what he should have been doing all split. innoX picks one up on the backside. That fight was just enemy overstaying again and again. At the very start of it, some of the core of this issue is one of those small weaknesses of this mid lane Ezreal. You cannot bring cleanse, and you generally don't build any magic resist items because it's not part of your core build. So he is heavily punished by any AP skill shot that lands right here. Look, he's full health at the very start of this. Bodydrop ends up getting caught. The chain CC is great. The Shen ult is gone, which means there's no longer protection for innoX. And then one spear lands from Rush. Ooh. Dead. From there, they've lost their damage threat, so the squishy Rush can continue in the back to just clean people up. Impact is at one of his biggest power spikes, being able to max his E while still being tanky, so the base damage is through the roof. The CC just keeps coming in. A minion blocks that spear, otherwise it was a pentakill in the books. XiaoWeiXiao, Rush, they were trying to give it to him. That was XiaoWeiXiao being good guy XiaoWeiXiao, but thanks to Ahri's kit having the true damage return on his Q, Rush couldn't close in what would have been the earliest pentakill in NALCS this year as far as game time goes. But Rush will settle for the quadra kill and most likely the game win because they are massively ahead now.
Jatt, I think you're pretty spot on when you were focusing Rush, or saying that Rush would focus more of a carry type of role back to that situation. And this looks like the Impulse we used to see in general. They're not backed by any means, not saying that, but the impulse to just throw these things out, be very compulsive, is working out for them.
Yeah, and we just saw Bodydrop block that one Nidalee spear. which is good for the Braum pick, but that Unbreakable is on a 15-second cooldown. Rush's Spears are on a 4-second cooldown. So we really can't do that frequently. It's a much better anti-poke against a Jace, not as good of an anti-poke against an Nidalee.
Thought this enemy team could get into position where they wanted. Impulse is staying at bay, however, using everything they can until they want to go in and get their target picked off, as we said in Champion Select. One looks like it could be taken down, but it was just for the turret. Impulse now playing to their strengths and just moving enemy off the turret by moving forward. So far, no real pressure to them as they walk out of this one safely. Top lane by Flaresz. Looks like he's going to be coming in for any type of play here as Impulse goes for Dragon. This is given up as Impulse with the 7,000 gold lead. They jumped in this one fast. Now only 18 minutes in.
And now they have all the freedom they want to continue their large farm numbers. They are up in every position. Even support is tied. Now ahead. So every position is ahead in CS.
Got him.
Ahead in turrets, ahead in dragons, ahead in kills. A complete lead for Team Impulse. You could make an argument that the AP Ezreal will scale incredibly, which it will, but also Impulse's ability to just click on innoX, the lack of cleanse, and the inability for Bodydrop to easily build Mikhails means that any team fight, Team Impulse can just Nautilus ult innoX, which will line up a Charm or Nidalee Spear and kill him dead right away. So that's really not the best situation in which to pick mid lane Ezreal. You could tell he really wanted to do it because it is honestly quite OP right now, especially the fact that it procs Luden's Echo with Runeglaive, which he just completed after the game is probably lost. So really great job by Team Impulse to punish the weakness points of these lanes. Very weak solo lanes that enemy picked there with Shen and the Ezreal, and basically it just allowed Team Impulse to walk all over them.
They worked it well. They actually knew those conditions coming in. Rush completely farmed, gave more jungle to Impact to make sure his lane was safe. They knew the lanes were going to be easy, but made them even easier with the way they handled the early game.
Punish the weak laners as best as they can.
Yeah. Worked out for him very well. XiaoWeiXiao as well, being able to 1v1 out innoX 2 or 3 times in the mid lane makes things very, very hard for him to get going. A little bit of a difference from what we saw Pepinero doing on the Ezreal.
Yeah, Pepinero was very subdued in laning phase in those games and then was able to pick up some kills in the mid-game team fights, but the rest of the team was splitting for the most part, maybe a little bit behind by those portions. And also, he didn't face a Nidalee jungler at an Ahri mid lane. The threat level onto him right now is so much greater than normal in the game.
I'm sure a lot of people are taking note, especially the Ahri Ezreal matchup itself. Seems to work out very well, being able to constantly close that distance. 6-2, things have calmed down here as enemy knows that getting in the eyesight of Impulse could probably mean some members going down. 64-36 is where the vote tallies up here as we're 20 minutes into the game. Still changing. It looks like Impulse definitely won over fans on this one. That's actually pretty necessary.
Yeah, very good steal there by innoX. They didn't have a ward inside the pit, but they saw XiaoWeiXiao going over to hand it off, so innoX knew the timing of when the blue was probably going to get low. Rush normally would have just taken that, but because of the new Runeglaive item and the fact that he started tier, really doesn't need mana. He's full all the time on this Nidalee. Really quite a good item for her.
Boy, XiaoWeiXiao definitely looking to go in. The Abyssal Scepter, Morellonomicon's finished, blasting one for a little bit of power on that and the extra money he had.
He is dealing true damage to innoX.
He's going to sting pretty bad for
innoX. Has 30 magic resist. They are still a very far ways out from completing an Aegis. Trouble is brewing for this enemy team.
It's going to be the walk over from Flaresz. Eyes on him, but Impact as well, trying to route the team just behind of enemy, but they have it warded. So this turret will fall, no problem for Impulse as they methodically move around the map, making sure they can push enemy right up into their base walls, make it that much harder.
Yeah. It's going to be relatively hard to push against innoX's Ezreal. He can wave clear quite well with the Ludens and the Runeglaive proc on his Mystic Shot, which shoots from outside the range of at least XiaoWeiXiao spells, not outside the range of Ludens here. But as you saw, even that turret was just an outer turret. He ended up chunking a good number of Team Impulse members pretty low. It's beginning to gain that power on AP Ezreal. Just most likely too little too late.
Yeah, especially with how big XiaoWeiXiao's gotten, and namely, how big Rush has gotten. Now with Zanya's from the jungle at 4-0-2. He's having fun now. Even the Zanya's isn't something you'll usually see, but so, he is able to make plays across the board now.
Rush has just crested 10,000 gold this game. 22 minutes and 30 seconds in. The richest other person on the team is at 8,800. Stat request, which we may be unable to fulfill. What is the earliest a jungler has gotten to 10,000 gold in this split? Because I bet you it's this, 22 minutes and 50 seconds, or before that, 22 minutes and something seconds for Rush. Just an absurd amount of gold from power farming his jungle, as well as picking up that quadra-kill in the mid-game.
Yep, and keeping the pace to keep the advantage up as well.
Oh no, Otter, what are you...
One thing after the other, close the gap, he goes for the chomp, cannot get it. Tries to claw it out, take a bite out of Otter. Cannot happen. Seraph's Embrace goes on. They're safe for this moment right now. Looks like they want to try to get in a few more. I was saying they're keeping that pressure going to keep their advantages, but they also have to make sure that they don't get a little careless in their ways as well, because they're taking a little too much damage to make this fight under the turret happen.
Yeah. Basically, Otter, there's no need to go that far out from your turret in order to clear the wave, but he does so, was able to get saved. It only cost him his heal. And honestly, the Ezreal ult came through, did a ton of damage, and it pushes Impulse back out.
It's not something they've been playing with for a while. Probably in scrims now that you've seen Runeblade of Ezreal, but that ultimate will change your mind as it flies across in a fight. It takes about 25% of your health away. For Apollo, probably going to be a bit more. He's charging up now to his Phantom Dancer, it looks like. The BF sword for Otter as well, coming after his Triforce. Some core items being finished up, but still that lead here for Impulse is making the game very hard for Enemy to get their squad to work in any way they wanted to out of Champion Select. Walking over wards, though. This is what they have. That is good. They at least know where Impulse is coming from. That's the first step of being able to come back.
Yeah, and this is also one of those games, Riv, that is a situation of a team getting so far ahead of the mid-game, but the mechanics to actually close the game take a lot of time. Baron doesn't spawn until 20 minutes. They need to do janitor work, basically taking out the outer turrets, because Impulse has been to the point where Enemy just doesn't want to fight them for quite a while, and Enemy will just want to try and split farm as much as possible while avoiding points of contention. Basically, Impulse just needs to group up, buy some wards, which, awesomely, they have upgraded 2 warding trinkets this game. You did it, Team Impulse. Congratulations. This game, they're able to do it, basically get deep wards into the jungle of Enemy, sweep and pink ward Enemy's wards, and then go for a Baron. I do want to point out some of the reasons that Team Impulse has been failing at times this year, because this is a team that looks very good against Enemy here, but ultimately is a 5-5 team coming into this match. And we mentioned last week some really poor warding. There was a game for Team Impulse where Rush on Nocturne was never buying wards, no one upgraded their trinkets, they were sitting on tier 1 warding totems for the majority of the game, and it kind of reflects in the warding stats from the team throughout the entire split. Rush, as a jungler, on average, places, I have the number, 0.74 wards per minute, which is the lowest of any jungler in the NALCS, and he's played Lee Sin 4 times, a jungler who builds Sightstone every single game.
He wants to play his wards.
So pretty poor warding by Rush, a definite need for improvement in that area. Because of the lack of warding from Rush, Adrian at times has been overcompensating with wards. He's placing 1.5 wards per minute, which is 0.3 wards per minute, or 20% more wards per minute than any other player in the entire NALCS. Placing that many wards per minute isn't actually efficient, because you're killing your own wards at that point, because you're constantly going over your ward cap just because they need vision in specific areas. So basically they need more balance in that area of the game.
It's definitely a give and a take, for sure. Right now they are doing the same to themselves. They give a little, but they're also losing vision. If it's moving up, it's in their favor. Right now, that's what's happening. Rush going full build this game. So no ward stats going up for him. Full build for damage. Looks like they should have the Baron coming up. Trashy may try to get over the wall, but he doesn't have any good safe way to get out. It's going to have to be a flash if possible. Very low, goes in a little early. They're going to stop the damage onto Baron. Good communication coming from Impulse. It's just a slow walk back to the fight for them here. Flaresz gets the Stand United out for just a few more hits, but Bodydrop goes down. The rest of the team doing what they can. innoX cannot get enough peel. Adrian on him, impact on him. He will finally go down as Rush makes his way over. And Flaresz and Otter have made their way to the bottom side of this fight right now. And baby, that was crazy.
Rush is on the hunt. That was not a good jump in.
Well, there's the Zhonya's play. Impact can stand in front of it. It's not a big one, so the rocket doesn't go off. The hook to come around the corner. Impact waiting for the dredge line. He does have the angle once he gets around this to take down Flaresz, but the dash away is going to keep him alive. 3 for 1 overall in that fight. Got to be careful. We got spawns coming up.
Yeah, most important thing is they were able to secure the Baron right there. So you could see what the luxuries of being 10,000 gold ahead entail. Impulse was able to peel the fight and secure the Baron. Rush, he started well. He's having a few little tiny misplays here because basically
his pockets are too heavy with money. 4
people of Team Impulse peeled off the Baron for the fight, but Rush stayed on the Baron to secure it. That's actually a combination that almost always ends a disaster, but because Team Impulse had such a lead, they were free to do so. So they stopped damage on Baron, meaning Trashy can't smite it. They kill him. Rush doesn't participate in this fight. He finishes the Baron, while the rest of Team Impulse, especially Impact with his monstrous full tank Nautilus, just jump in on him. innoX does well to kill Adrian there with his W, but there's no escape. The flash eat by Rush.
Got him. Can't distract the cat from its toys. Rush just wanted the Baron. So, Impulse looking very good this game. Able to really take control of the laning phase and then do what they want to do. It seems like by the time it comes and the games are really bloody here at 28 minutes, both teams are come down to fighting off a ward that gets placed and somebody's out of position. But taking action this game when they finally have a lead, it's just what they need to do when the game is even. That's going to hurt. They need to watch out for that.
Yeah. innoX poking back.
Oh boy!
Nice.
He clenched.
Don't use right there. Yeah.
He clenched.
And then a heal gets him back up to full.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit of AP. Rabadon's now 5-0-3. Like I saw, what was his Lisa in 7-0-11 yesterday? Not stopping. Great KDA coming out of Rush. The momentum carries over from week to week for him as they now have enemy on the front doorstep. Adrian taking a bit of the turret right now. He's going to want to get out of that one, but he's a big cow. And they should be able to keep poking enemy down. They can't stay too long already. Otter and innoX going to try to back off to get a bit more HP here.
Yeah.
Oh boy, innoX going to need some more of that HP.
At the same time, Team Impulse has to be pretty respectful of innoX's Ezreal. We noted that he can't build the magic resist items, but Rush hasn't built the magic resist items either, so if either one lands a burst or poke combo, they can kind of kill each other, despite the fact that Rush is sporting the number of the beast for his ability power, 666 AP. Baron buff falls off, it goes to 612. He's no longer as threatening.
Womp womp. 10-3. Enemy's done a great job at kind of try to stave off the deaths that are coming their way, but it's not stopping Impulse from getting movement on the map, gaining whatever they want to. Bodydrop, that was a charm through the shield. He's still going to take quite a bit of damage. Apollo gets hit, but he's got a huge front line, and Otter cannot make anything connect. Over the wall goes XiaoWeiXiao, and down goes innoX. Bodydrop's going to get the Orb of Deception, but it looks like he gets taken out by some Foxfire. Rush is in, maybe a bit too deep.
Yeah, there goes the neighborhood, though. One charm onto innoX through the Shen ult. The incredibly fed XiaoWeiXiao can just take him down. Really great job right here of Team Impulse punishing the inadequacies of the mid lane Ezreal in some instances and really taking a very strong and decisive victory. One of the best games Impulse has played all split. 31
minutes in. They're looking at an 18,000 gold lead right now as they trample down enemy's base. They're on to the Nexus. What a clean game, clean finish. Impulse is going to take down enemy.
Wow. So Impulse did not look like a 5-5 team that game. They looked much better than that. I really like the way they played their champion select in-game. So first picking the Nautilus early on, knowing that they could take that top lane and it would suit a carry-style damage jungler without sacrificing a tank line. That's what happens so frequently when you want to play a jungle Nidalee. You don't have a tank line. Impulse managed to do both of those things. They played to the strength of their players. For Rush, it was carrying. For XiaoWeiXiao, he got to play a comfort pick on Ahri, which was also a counter for Ezreal. So many things went right in that drafting phase, but mainly it was the way they played the game to their specific style, and that's what leads to a 31-minute victory.
A 31-minute victory for Team Impulse here, happily high-fiving the hands of their fans. This guy in the top lane playing the Nautilus. Impact brings it out. Flaresz actually wasn't able to make too much of it work last week, but like you said, the way they switched around the rest of the composition to work together, it's like what Impulse has been missing. It seemed like they were trying to do that with XiaoWeiXiao and Impact before. Maybe those two can swap a few champions, maybe a Yasuo or a Fizz.
Yeah.
Let's go outside the box and see where Rush can go.
Absolutely.
Worked out.
That worked out really well for them. Rush is probably pretty happy about this. By far his best game of the split. Previous high for kills was 7. That was his last game. So things are looking up for Rush.
Things are looking very up. On the side of NME, yeah, I'm looking at the damage chart right here. Yeah. Guess who did the most damage in the game?
Oh, probably the mid lane Ezreal.
Probably the mid lane Ezreal. 19,000.8. The closest behind him was actually Rush at